Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our webinar on leveraging your LinkedIn. I'm Jen Woodside, a director in Alumni Relations. This is the second program in our spring webinar series. We have more coming throughout the next 2 months, so check your email inbox, your social media, and our website for more upcoming programs. We are really pleased with how many alumni have already registered and tuned in. It's been a great response. Today, I am joined by the founder of Job Talk, Krystal Hicks. Krystal graduated from UNH in 2007. She began her career in a staffing manager role, and from there went on to work in higher education, becoming the Director of Career Services at UNH. Eventually, Krystal was recruited to join Lint USA in 2016 as their corporate recruitment manager. Krystal was recognized in 2017 as one of the Seacoast 10 to Watch winners, a New Hampshire-based contest that recognizes young professionals who are active in the community. Krystal launched Job Talk in 2018 and officially left Lint in April of 2019 to pursue it full-time. In addition to one-on-one career counseling, she provides resume and LinkedIn reviews, webinars, job hunting consultations, and more. So with that, I will turn it over to Krystal.
All right, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, it's crazy to be on this webinar right now and keep seeing these participant numbers like jump. So we're already in the 40s, this is insane. Thank you so much for having me. So obviously I've got this little contact info screen up. I figured we would just kind of give people a second to jump in. And then, yeah, I thought this was such a well-timed webinar. Thank you so much, Jen and Phoebe, for the invite, because as a 2007 grad who graduated in the beginnings of a recession, I definitely can empathize for a lot of our recent grads that are now going through this market. But even more so, I think people just all have the same questions. You know, we're all in the same boat with this. And one of the things that I'm constantly talking to my clients about is just the necessity of LinkedIn now, because I think it was a nice to have resource for a long time. And now it's just kind of a non-negotiable. So I think there's a lot of misconceptions around how it's used, how it should be used, what can people do with it. A lot of people keep saying, I always hear, oh, it's just like Facebook for your professional life. It's like understatement of the year. So I'm really excited to kind of bring people through. I'm going to go ahead and pull up, I'm going to shut down my video. And I'm going to pull open the other screen, so bear with me. And we're gonna jump right in. So the way that today is gonna work is I'm gonna take people through the foundations of this site. How does it actually work? We're gonna talk about your profile, absolutely. Every section, things that people should or shouldn't do to stand out, especially in this market, and even more so if you're looking at remote work or positions that could potentially be remote for the next several months. How does this all impact how we want to show up on LinkedIn? We're going to go through the advanced back-end searches, and we're also going to go through the job search function, which is great for a lot of reasons, but we'll talk about sort of how it can be complemented with other resources as well. So there is a Q&A section to this, and what we're going to do is I'm going to pause in between sort of every chunk of information that I give people, give you guys, and then Jennifer will pipe up and read off any questions that we have, and we'll sort of take the questions throughout the webinar, and then obviously I'm happy to hang out for a couple minutes after it's done too in case people have more questions. First and foremost, please, if you have a notebook, awesome. If you want to jot down notes, totally fine. This whole webinar is being recorded. So I know that Jen and Phoebe will send out this link afterwards. And so the reason why I say that is I want to encourage people not to be in their LinkedIn profiles as we're doing things, because we have so many people on the line and I want to make sure you don't miss anything. And I'm turning on the fire hose right now. There's gonna be a lot of information that we tackle in the next 60 minutes. So I don't recommend trying to do this at the same time that I'm running you through it. Just kind of kick back, be in sponge mode. And if you've got questions, throw them up into the Q&A box, and then we will get to those throughout. So without further ado, so let's jump in. So like I said, a lot of people, I think, over the years have probably started a LinkedIn profile, maybe kind of let it collect some dust. Maybe people kind of jump back in and use it a little bit more when they're job hunting. But for all intents and purposes, I mean, this site really is the end all be all for professional networking. And I think with the online space and the fact that, you know, especially now where we can't even go to these conferences, we can't meet new people in our field, you know, we don't get that kind of same interaction that you get if you go to a conference or professional development event. This site is even more important now. So when it comes to how this actually works, and this is going to come into play a lot, and you're going to keep hearing me say, connections equal access, connections equal access. What I mean by that is you will see on your LinkedIn, right? And obviously I'm logged in, so you guys are going to see my view today. But notice that the people that pop up on your newsfeed here, right? Very similar to the newsfeed that you have in Facebook and stuff like that. But this is really, I tell people, think of this as the newspaper that's filled with only the stuff you actually care about, right? And there's three main things that we're populating this feed with. We're connecting with people, we're following organizations that we're interested in, and we're joining groups. And so Bobby Gibbons and I here, we're first connections, right? That means we've actually connected. So what he posts, I see. Now, the thing to remember, again, going back to this whole idea of connections equal access. So Bobby here, when he sent me a connection request and I accepted, we became first connections. And so of course I can jump onto his profile. I can see everything that he's got going on. He can view my profile. We can message back and forth. That's the basic stuff, right? But the thing is that what's really important to understand is that when that transaction happens and you actually connect with somebody, all of my 8,700 first connections then become Bobby's second connections. So he can see them and they can see him. And the more important time that this comes up is when you're searching for people. So if I were to run a search and I put up, let's just put up like a random, there's a Taylor Jones on the webinar line. This is going to be really scary for them. But if I just ran a regular search, you're going to notice that you only see your first, second, and third connections. And that's where your access on this site stops. So the thing is it's really, really important to connect with as many people as possible, because that is going to truly give you the keys to find the people that you actually want to find on this site. And a lot of people that tell me, oh, I've started a LinkedIn profile, but it doesn't do anything for me, and nothing's ever come from it. And then I look at their profile and they have like 35 connections. We have to start remembering that this is not Facebook. There's no stranger danger. You can connect with whoever you'd like. It's very common and normal to connect with people you don't know. And again, the reason why this connection transaction is so important is because, again, when I connect with someone and we become firsts, their firsts become my seconds, their exponential seconds become my thirds, and vice versa. So you don't have to be the person with 10,000 connections, but maybe you want to connect with the person that might have 10,000 connections. So really remembering that you're very limited to what you see on here based on who you have a connection with. And again, it's first, second, or thirds. That's where it stops. There's 650 million people on LinkedIn worldwide. You are never going to have access to most of those people, and that's okay. But when it comes to the news feed and sort of what you're seeing through the site, just remember that it's really important to kind of get over that mental hurdle of like, oh, who's this person? I don't know who this is. I don't want to connect with them. You never know why someone might be reaching out to you. I had someone send me a connection request once, didn't know who the person was. They weren't in my field, had no clue who they were. And I accepted it. And then the gentleman sent me a message and said, hey, I noticed that you studied abroad at, this college in Ireland, and it's on your profile or whatever. My daughter's thinking of going to the same program. How did you like it? And I was like, oh, of course. And we were able to talk about it. So the thing is that we also have to remember there's really not a lot of ill intent on here. And it's also, there are privacy measures in place where on our profile, there's absolutely a contact info section, right? And you can for sure dole out, you can even see when my birthday is, you can dole out this information about yourself, or you don't have to. So you have the ability to control what people are seeing. There's not photo albums and all this personal information like on your Facebook and stuff. So if you've ever felt weird about connecting with people you don't know, don't sweat it. I'm never going to tell someone to push yourself into like a panic mode level of discomfort. But at the same time, I just can't stress enough that if you want to get the most out of this site, we have to be connecting with people. So when it comes to this news feed. The biggest thing that I tell people again is remember that this is really like where you're honing in and filtering down all of this information for yourself based on what's actually important to you. And what's really important is if you're considering going through a career transition, let's say that you're thinking about switching fields or switching industries. What you want to start to do, let's say that we want to switch fields and we want to go into the medical device industry. If I come up here and I put in medical device, right? And we run this search, I'm able to kind of drill down and find people in this space, jobs in this space, content about this space, and groups. You can find companies, right? So what you want to do is we want to go through and we want to follow these organizations, because what they're talking about right now, especially if I don't have any past experience with that stuff, what they're talking about is going to flow through to their feeds on their company pages. So you can easily follow them out here, right? Or you could jump in and actually join groups and see what people are talking about in this space, right? Some of these groups have 100,000 members. I mean, think of the conversations that are going on. So when you join groups and you're following these company pages, it's really nice because all of a sudden, all that information starts flowing through here. And then if you start applying for positions and you wind up getting an interview, you want to be able to talk about, like, what are people seeing, right? What is disrupting this space? And this is stuff that you might not have access to in any other way because you haven't worked in that space before. So again, highly, highly, highly recommend treating this like your newspaper. Have your cup of coffee in the morning, scroll through, see what the world's talking about. And you never know what kind of insight you might glean from this that you can actually leverage in a conversation later on. So I think a lot of people kind of overlook this piece. Strategically stockpile this thing full of the information that you want to have access to. The other thing that I'll call out is obviously when you wanted to post something yourself, I think most people are pretty comfortable throwing up a post, right? Throw in a hashtag, add a picture, throw up a URL for an article that you want to talk about, whatever it may be. But the other piece that I think a lot of people don't take advantage of is this piece. When you write an article on LinkedIn, it's kind of a separate format. It's almost more like a blog post. You can throw up a nice cover photo. It's a much longer section that you can actually add this information in here and people can share it. I'll give you an example of what this looks like. So if you go into your activity, this is where people can actually see the articles and stuff. So if we go to one of these articles, notice how different it looks. And the reason why this is important, and you may not have ever even considered yourself a writer or anything like that, but I highly recommend thinking about how you can leverage this type of resource. This is giving you sort of like your own blog feed that you're able, you don't even have to have a website. You can host it all right on LinkedIn. It allows people to engage with you. And this is something that if you feel like you have insight to share about your industry, this is so important. Or even insight about your experience. I've seen so many great articles on here about people who talk about, top 5 reasons why I'm glad I waited to get my MBA, or blah, blah, blah. Like, just think of these little quippy pieces. The nice thing about this, and I can tell you as a former corporate recruiter, I loved seeing people that talked about stuff on their profile, that shared their opinions and their ideas. Like, let me know how you think about stuff. That's, if I'm thinking about hiring you, and let's say that you're coming into a specific field, I want to know sort of your opinions on these things. So it's really nice to kind of give yourself a little bit of a leg up, I'd say, on the competition, because it's allowing someone to engage with you and engage with your thought processes a little bit more. Not for nothing, but it's also a written communication sample. Like, writing skills are so important. I mean, especially now, but give people an idea of sort of how you're approaching your field, what you're thinking. It's just something that can give you a huge leg up. The reason why I say that is because at the end of the day, if there are 200, 300 applicants per position, and there's only one opening, let's say that even 10% of them are super qualified. As the recruiter, that means I still have to make 20 to 30 phone calls. How am I deciding who I start with? And at my former organization, I was a team of 1. I mean, I hired 80 people a year, for this US headquarters in Stratum and across all different functions. And I'm one human. And for every single position, I have 200 plus applications. So for me, And for a lot of recruiters, it's about efficiency. So if you have these bits and pieces to your profile, which we're going to kind of walk through right now, that make you stand out from the crowd, that's what it's really all about. Because at the end of the day, the person who gets the job is so rarely the quote unquote best candidate on paper for a million different reasons. The person who usually gets the job is just a great candidate that knew how to stand out from all the other great candidates, because there always will be. You will always be up against the volume. So as we're going through, you're going to kind of hear me say, like, this is what can give you a leg up. This is what can make you stand out from the crowd. That's the really important stuff. So I always feel bad telling my students, you know, I teach a class at UNH still, and it's like, I tell them all the time, like, yeah, good for you on that 4.0, but, you know, did you actually follow up on that last job you applied for? Because, you know, it's like that 4.0 might not be enough to sail you into a phone screen, but if you're the only person out of 100 applicants that actually took the time to follow up, which is not uncommon, by the way, 1 or 2% follow-up rate is very normal, then that's something that can make you really stand out. So before we kind of jump in and go piece by piece through the profile, Jennifer, is there any questions that we should tackle already?
No questions yet.
Okay, perfect. So obviously, you guys are seeing my profile and I'm logged in right now. So I'm in edit mode, which I think is helpful because this is what it's going to look like when you're in yours. So a few key things. Obviously, if you want to throw up a cover photo, you certainly can. Having a professional headshot. And I say professional lightly. Honestly, iPhones are so good these days. You can usually just take a really decent picture with your phone and have it just be like a normal, you know, stand up against kind of a blank wall and have someone take your photo. That's all you need here. It doesn't have to be a professional headshot or something. But if you ever do go back to the UNH career fairs, there is a LinkedIn photo booth there and you get a free picture and stuff like that. So just a quick plug for the career fairs if we ever have those in person again. So moving through here, I work with a lot of folks in the LGBTQ community. I think throwing your pronouns in your header is really, really nice to do for people. It's also just kind of showing you're an ally, but it's also just, you know, why not? So I throw mine in there. When it comes to your headline, this is prime real estate. So this is something that I am constantly telling people, especially recent grads. If we have any students or recent grads on the horn today, don't put student at University of New Hampshire, right? Because again, you're not standing out. Think about it this way. You have 2 lines here, and these 2 lines are the very first thing that someone sees about you besides your name and your picture. So if we go back to our search here, notice that when these people pop up, I'm not seeing their current job title. They may put their current job title as their header, but I'm seeing that header. So again, this is one of the first pieces that people will see about you. So think about what you want people to know. Do you want to say that you're currently seeking new opportunities? Do you want to talk about the field that you're in? Be strategic. You can do it a whole bunch of different ways. You'll notice that some people put up just a bunch of buzzwords and kind of like, you know, chunk out the sections of the industry that they work in. Other people will be a little bit more wordy. Totally fine. It's fair game, but have something strategic there. Oh, one other thing that might make life a lot easier for people, if you are one of those people that feels like you're just getting hammered by the LinkedIn emails, jump on into your little me bubble up here, come down to settings and privacy. And when you jump in, you can actually go to communications and you can turn off the email notifications. Because if you're in here every day or even a couple times a week, you don't need all those emails. You're going to see everything in your notifications right up here. You're going to have those little red indicators that you have a new notification or something. So just save yourself the sanity of having to clear out your inbox. So jumping down here, one of the biggest things that I always kind of highlight for people is that if you are confidentially or very publicly job hunting, you want to make sure that you have this turned on. I call this the recruiter beacon. So right here, this is a feature that tells recruiters that you are open. And you can put up to 5 different job titles here, whatever you want. And you can, you know, let people know exactly what types of roles you're looking for. And on my side as the recruiter, as I'm running searches for people, most recruiters are going to use what's called a recruiter seat on LinkedIn, which is a totally different function. And it's where if I'm searching for any of these types of job titles to pop up for people, not only are you going to pop up to me in my search results list, but you're actually going to be highlighted that you are actually more apt to respond to me if I reach out to you because you've indicated that you are open to recruiters seeing you. And you can make it so that everybody can see you, right? Or if you're confidentially searching, you don't want your boss to know you're job hunting kind of thing, you can make it so that only recruiters see you. And this is something where LinkedIn actually works doubly hard to make sure that recruiters from your same company don't see you pop up with this indicator. So you can feel pretty comfortable with it. The nice thing about this, aside from being able to put in multiple job titles, multiple locations, let's say that you're open to remote work. I have a lot of clients that I work with now that are like, you know what, all of this work from home stuff has really kind of showed me that I want to be more flexible even when all this COVID-19 stuff kind of clears up. I would really love to transition into a fully remote position. And so you can go ahead and you can, alert people that you're open to that kind of stuff. And you can put in here, United States, make it nice and broad. So again, something to think about. If you're even confidentially searching, publicly searching, whatever, you want to make sure you take the time and go through this. Let me just make sure that I turn that off. About section, super important. This is one of the biggest missed opportunities, I think, for people, period, on LinkedIn. So many people do not take the time to fill this out. Now, I'm very wordy. I'm a journalism major. Like, I will write all day long. So you don't have to be as long-winded as me in this, but think of this section as the cover letter of your profile. Now you're going to have, we're going to go through the experience section, right? This is everything you have on your resume, where you worked, what you did, when you did it. But this is your story. Tell me your story. Speak to me in first person. Don't have it be sterile and, ignore the resume speak where it's just sort of very like third person, whatever. Say tell me your story, walk me through it. I want to feel like I'm getting to know you a little bit more. I loved it when candidates would fill this stuff out and really take me on the journey of, their career path and how they got to where they were and what they're passionate about. Another reason why this section is so important to leverage is because, again, recruiters that are using these recruiter seats, and I'm actually going to show you how you all have a very similar tool to use for free when we go through the advanced backend search. But the recruiter seats are very keyword centric. So if I'm a recruiter and I'm searching for someone that has specific systems or skills or experiences, I'm putting in certain keywords. And if you don't have that experience in your current position, let's say, because you're trying to make a transition into that field, you can talk about that up here, and it's strategically planting those keywords into this section of your profile. So saying things like passionate about X, Y, and Z, right? Would love to, in the future, focus on transitioning into the blah, blah, blah sector, but get those words in here. Again, just another great chance for you to kind of tell your story a little bit. Very simple, just copy and paste it in. Jennifer, I'm seeing that flash thing pop up for the Q&A. Are there any questions that are immediate?
Yes, there is a couple questions.
Okay.
So the first one is where you were showing how you could open yourself up to recruiters.
Yep.
If you click that remote box, the box that said remote, will that limit you to only remote positions?
No, I mean, because you could also say remote full-time, remote part-time, whatever. It would open you up for all of those different things. Okay. But the thing to remember is that if someone is specifically recruiting for a remote role, that's something where not everybody, and this is, a lot of people are learning this right now, right? Not everybody's really built to work from home. Some people hate it, right? I know plenty of people that love the freedom of it, but I know other people that are like, oh my God, there's too much distraction. I need to go to an actual office, right? So this is more of an indicator, I'd say, for a recruiter that has a position. If they're looking for someone that's like totally dialed in and wants that kind of experience, you'll just additionally pop up to them.
Okay. There's a couple other questions.
Yep.
The next one says, I'm a senior currently looking for a post-grad job. what would be the ideal headline to put to share that with employers or profile viewers? She wanted to change hers to senior at the University of New Hampshire.
But think of how many seniors there are at UNH. Tell me about your major. Talk to me about, you could say like, I don't know if you're a marketing major, right? You could say creative and passionate marketing major seeking new opportunities in May of 2020, or seeking social media analyst positions in 2020, like something like that. Like give me some meat, right? Like no one's going to self-advocate for you better than you. But you have to give people enough information to be able to make a decision about if you're even the right type of person that they'd be looking for, right? And marketing is such a great example too, because it's such a broad umbrella term. Accounting, right? There's so many different human resources. There's so many different slices to each of those functions. I think some people feel like this headline can be very limiting to them. It doesn't have to be. You can be nice and broad in here, but still give people a lot more detail about who you are rather than just student or senior at UNH. And I think that goes for a lot of different folks as well.
Okay, 2 more questions. The next one is, should I be incorporating keywords into my experience descriptions too?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Same thing that we talked about with the about section. You want to find any way that you can to get those words in there. But my point before was sometimes you're not going to be able to get those words into your experience section because you just literally haven't done that job yet, or you haven't done that kind of work yet. So this is the opportunity for people to kind of sneak those terms into your profile, but in this section, rather than needing to have the experience that matches.
And then the final question for right now is also about the about section. It says, should the about section be the exact same text as the cover letter that you submit to an employer, or should you differentiate it?
Well, it would have to be different because this isn't going to be specific to any certain employer, right? Like there might be a paragraph in here that's similar to your cover letter, or that you feel like you've just spent some good time like wordsmithing something about your background. Absolutely, you can use that same wording, but you're not have like, I'm interested in this position at your company, blah, blah, blah. So it's one of those, and actually for anybody that has questions on this, I have a blog on, are cover letters still necessary in the days of LinkedIn? If you go to my website and you just go to the blog tab, there's a whole piece on that because it's a really common question. So they're different, but I'd say this is serving as the cover letter of your profile, right? So if we think about what is a resume, right? It's all the factual stuff. It's very black and white. We go down to your experience section, right? This is what you do here. This is what you do here. This is what you do here. I mean, it's kind of set in stone because this is your work history. So if this is the who, what, when, where, this is the why. This is like, why are you a great fit for my organization? Why are you someone that I would love to have on my team? Why are you even passionate about this space? What drew you into this function in this space? So this is, again, where someone I feel like can just really tell their story so much more than even on a resume or perhaps even in a cover letter. So it's not going to be specific to a company, but I challenge people to kind of dig deep with it. It can be a little bit more personal, I'd say.
Great. All right, that's the only questions in for right now.
All right, perfect. So moving on down here, LinkedIn added this featured content section, and actually something that I'll throw out here. So this is a post that I put up a couple weeks ago, and the LinkedIn editors feed actually picked it up, which was really exciting. So there's 100 different comments on here. And really it was me putting kind of a blast out to my recruiting network to just kind of say, hey, obviously people are having a tough time right now with jobs and layoffs and stuff, but let's talk about who is hiring, like who's still out there. And so I had 100 people respond and say, hey, I'm still hiring. So I encourage people, if you want to come to my profile, you can actually click into this and it'll bring you right to the feed. And you can actually go through and see, who's posting in here and where they're from. And the best part is that a lot of these people are the actual hiring managers or recruiters for that company. So you can absolutely go through, right? Like Tom Ferry is the TA specialist at Sig Sauer. So not only here's the career site, but boom, you know exactly who you need to follow up with. So highly recommend checking out this feed if people are on the market and want to just kind of see who's still actively hiring. And part of the message I've been trying to get out there a lot to my My clients, especially through my Instagram page, I'll put up like a bunch of different like video clips and stuff and just sound bites about what I'm seeing in the market. The people who have already, had to put their Q1 positions on hold until maybe Q3 or Q4 this year, they've communicated that. But for the rest of the folks out there still trying to hire, I just talked to Brooke Sullivan, who's head of TA at Bottom Line Technologies in Portsmouth. And she was like, yeah, are you hearing that like candidates are coming in saying that, oh yeah, I know it's a slow market right now. And she's like, no, it's not. She's like, we need to make sure that people know that we still have a lot of positions open that we're actively filling. So I hope that that's encouraging for some folks on here that might be, in the midst of their search, but please know that there are definitely companies still hiring. The dashboard, I call this the ego of our profile. Just ignore it. Like we get so hung up on how many searches did I appear in and who's viewing my profile. And so many people have this question to me too about, oh, well, why are people looking at my profile and should I message them and should I find out why it's like, no, like they might have just run a random search and you happen to pop up and they popped into your profile, or they're looking at a company that you've previously worked for and they saw you there and they jumped into your profile. So you don't have to be weirded out by it. Again, don't lose sleep over that kind of stuff. Activity section, this is obviously just allowing you to see if people are following you, meaning if you post something on your newsfeed, the people that follow you will actually have a chance they'll get like a little notification that you posted something new. Experience section, we kind of talked about this briefly, but I always tell people copy and paste in the bullet points right from your resume. It's fine. A lot of people are like, oh, really? Could be the exact same thing. Yeah. Hey, I'd rather have it be the same thing than have a huge discrepancy, especially when it comes to dates. If you see it, or if I'm a recruiter and if I see a resume that says, was at this company from this month and year to this month and year on the resume, and then I come and look at your LinkedIn and it's much shorter, or the dates aren't aligning, all of a sudden I have questions. And so whenever you're job hunting, your biggest job is to make sure that you are answering those questions for a recruiter before they even realize they have them. So if there's dates discrepancies or anything like that, that can be a red flag. So I would say keep it safe, copy and paste everything over from your resume. Makes it easy, right? But the nice thing is with LinkedIn, you can just keep scrolling. There's no length issue. And the whole like one-page resume thing, by the way, just side tangent, no one cares. Like recruiters do not care if you have a resume that's longer than one page. I've never in my life made a hiring decision based off the length of someone's resume. And I think that that's just like the worst advice ever. So if you see people saying that on LinkedIn or in articles and stuff, chances are they've never been a recruiter. Anyway, I digress. So the nice thing is with LinkedIn is you can put a couple extra lines in here and really talk about, why you're here or what your transition was from. I've seen some people really leverage this section to talk about taking some time off to raise a family, or if there was a gap in their experience because they had to care for an aging parent or a sick child or something like that. And that's something where on a resume, I don't think people always think to add that kind of level of detail to a gap. But you have a little bit more leeway here. So I do encourage people that if there's a reason that you just feel like you want to tell that story behind that reason a little bit more, you could. So if I wanted to do that, I could slide that in right here, kind of between the top part of my Lint experience and the bullet points. I could say, chose to leave Lint, decided to leave Lint to, take on my practice full time, for Job Talk or whatever. So if you feel like you have a gap that you'd like to explain, please feel free to do so, because recruiters are always happy to have more information rather than not enough. And then we've got to make some assumptions. If something's not on your resume, a recruiter is never going to assume in your favor. They're going to assume that you don't have it. And that goes for systems. That goes for technical skills. Everything. You'll also notice that there's a lot of visual assets in some of my experiences. I highly recommend show, don't tell. If you're if you're an event planner or an event manager, throw up a couple pictures of some really great events that you've thrown, right? Like, I want to see this stuff. If there's video clips, if, you're in marketing and you have examples of your work, or if you're a writer and you have examples of your work, use this as almost an online portfolio as well. So if there's ways for you to get samples of your work, or let's say that you spoke at a conference and, or you were a keynote somewhere and someone snapped a picture of you speaking, throw that stuff up here. It's one thing to be able to tell me that you're good at public speaking. It's another for me to look at a picture of you in front of 200 people, public speaking. So the more you can self-advocate for the experience you have through those visual assets, which are just more engaging, the better. The other thing with the experience section, you'll notice that if you tack the dates on chronologically and there's no gap between the dates, LinkedIn will automatically stack these positions for you, so it shows your career progression. If there's a gap in between, so let's say March 2013 here and March 2013 here, if this was like April 2013, it would actually show as a gap, and it would duplicate the UNH section, and it looks a little bit more jumpy. So I always tell people, if you can set it up so that the dates align nicely, assuming that's the way it happened, this is nice because recruiters want to see that career progression. I want to know that you were with a company that saw your value and promoted you, rather than if you've had to leave every single organization you've ever been with just to get a promotion. Like, that kind of tells me a different story. So again, list all of your experiences. Education section, obviously, throw in your, if you want to add in your courses that you've taken, if you feel like that's a good way to populate in some good keywords and terminology into your profile, you can come right up here to the add profile section. You'll notice that you can just add these guys in really easily. So the site's trying to make it as intuitive as possible. The iterations over the years have gotten a lot better. Volunteer experience. One thing that I think kills people, and on the resume too, is if they say that they're a volunteer somewhere and then they don't even kind of say what they're volunteering and what they're doing. Be sure to give people some kind of context. Tell a little bit more of the story. Again, LinkedIn is a little bit more loose. You can talk in first person if you'd like. It's not a big deal. Again, the idea is that we're giving people context to your experience. Skills and endorsements, a lot of questions I get on this section. Basically, you just want to make sure your job on this section is just to fill these things out. So you want to make sure that you're putting in things that make sense. And this will just kind of accumulate over the years. When people come and endorse you for a skill, that's where these little numbers pop up. So it's like 99 plus people have endorsed me for public speaking. That's what that means. And you can kind of see a couple of who these people are. But the thing is it doesn't really make a big difference to me as a recruiter if I see that. The only time that this will really help you, so there is a benefit to it, is if I'm running a search on my side as a recruiter and I say, find me somebody with recruiting skills. If I was hiring a junior recruiter and I put the recruiting piece in here into my skills search using my recruiter seat, that's where somebody with a higher number of recruiting endorsements might pop up higher in that list of my search results. So it's just to say that if you have stuff in here and you're well endorsed, it could just make you appear in someone's search sooner. But otherwise, I don't go through and kind of peel through and look at everybody's, individual things that they have in here. It's just more for making sure that you show up when you're supposed to. One of the things I tell people is think about LinkedIn as it's less about job hunting and more about job fishing. Right? And I have a blog about this on my website too, if you want to check that out. But this whole idea of we're job fishing, it's all about the bait. We want to make sure that we're showing up to the right people, the right recruiters for the right roles and in the right ways. So that's where, again, it's kind of bending our thought process a little bit and our mindset around how we actually go after these positions. I will tell you that out of 75, 80 positions a year that I was hiring at Lint, roughly 45% of those hires that I pulled in externally came cold off LinkedIn. So these weren't people that were applying to the positions, that were actively job hunting. These are people that I went out and I fished for as a recruiter. And I found these people and I started conversations, said, hey, I love your background. Would you be interested in making a transition this year? I've got this position open. So almost half of the people that I would hire every year, I was pulling off LinkedIn. So I want you to think about, is your profile, allowing you to be found? Do you have the right bait on the hook for the type of roles that you're going for? So it's just a different mind state. Last piece here, recommendations. Cannot speak highly enough about this section. This is something where, so many people well, they say, oh, well, I've got a list of references. So if I get an interview or whatever, and they ask me for references, I've already got a list of names and phone numbers and emails, right? But here's the thing. As a former recruiter, I can tell you that lots of people lie. I've been on the phone with people who were supposed to be a manager of someone, and it was like totally their parent. And every recruiter I know has been in a situation where they've very severely questioned who the person was on the other line. So this is something that recruiters love so much more, because if I want to jump into, so if Sean here has left, me a recommendation, I can jump right into Sean's profile and see exactly who he is and validate that these people are who they say they are. We work together. So I highly, highly, highly recommend that if people don't have recommendations on their profile yet, that you take the time to do this. And the best way to do it is you have to be first connections with someone. So if I jump in and I pull up, a friend of mine who I know I've got as a first connection here. So this person has to be a first. And then when you are on their page, you come over to the little more button, come on down, request a recommendation or recommend. And these are really, really simple. And sometimes the best way to give them or to get them is to give them. So think of who you can leave a recommendation for: managers, interns, people that you've done volunteer work with. And chances are they're going to kind of return the favor. But if you just wanted to request one from someone, it's a simple prompt. What's the relationship, right? Did you manage her? Did she manage you? And then where did you work together? And it kind of pulls this stuff from your profile. So it's super simple. I do recommend giving people kind of a personalized heads up that you're sending that over. And like any great, letter of recommendation, give people a couple bullet points and being able to help them focus their reference for you or their recommendation for you. So if you're going for positions that are like heavy in project management, I could say, hey, Serena, hope you're doing well. I know it's been a little while since we've caught up, but was hoping you would just take 5 minutes and leave me a quick recommendation on here, specifically focusing on my project management skills that you saw me demonstrate during our time together at XYZ company. It'll really help me with my job search. Thanks. Right? So it can be nice and simple. And if you're trying to write that whole thing down really quick, don't worry. Again, this whole thing's recorded. But again, highly recommend. The reason why this is so important, again, is because yes, it's more recruiter friendly, right? I like seeing recommendations that I can validate immediately. But also think about this from that whole, how do we get competitive mindset? If you're one of 300 applicants, and again, let's say 10% are even really qualified. So that's like 20, 30 people, right? That I as a recruiter have to weigh and consider. If I see on your resume, and this is another thing I highly recommend, if I see on your resume 4 immediate recommendations, please see, and then you put your LinkedIn URL. You put it right below your header up top, right under your name and city and email and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people will list their LinkedIn URL. But if you're telling me that I can immediately in one click hop over to your profile and read these great things that other people are saying about you, that could literally lead to me giving you my first phone call, right? I could make you my first phone screen of the day. And so the thing that to remember again is that less than 5% of people ever follow up after applying for a job, right? So we have to follow up. But we also have to remember that you may be a great candidate for that job, super qualified, but you might not be alone. There might be plenty of other people in the running for that job that are just as qualified, if not more qualified than you. So how are we standing out from those people? Now, you're always going to tell me that you're awesome. I need other people to tell me that you're awesome. So again, this idea of, if you think about, if you have that piece of paper, or email that you send over with people's names and phone numbers and emails for your reference checks, think about when that's happening in a process. That is all the way at the end. You would have had to apply for the job and hopefully get the phone screen and then hopefully get the, the Zoom meeting, I was going to say in person, but now it's all Zoom interviews. And then hopefully you get the job offer. And upon offer, that's typically where they say, okay, this offer is contingent upon positive reference checks. And so the thing is why wouldn't we want to front load all the benefits of the great things that those people are going to say about you to the beginning of the process to literally help you get the phone call and stand out from the crowd in that way? So again, can't recommend enough how important this section is. Definitely try to collect a few. And again, even if you have one, I would highly recommend putting that line at the top of your resume. This is something I tell my clients all the time. It's just, this is how we have to stand out. Accomplishments, obviously publications, if you've had any articles that you've written or anything like that, feel free to throw this stuff in there. Organizations, but that's really the nuts and bolts of the profile. I've seen a bunch of questions pop up. So Jen, do you want to run through those for me?
Yes, we have quite a few. So the first one is, I know UNH also has Wildcat Connections program. Should I be using both that in LinkedIn to connect with alumni? Also, can I show more personality in my LinkedIn profile too? Where would be the best place to do that?
So I would say Wildcat Connections is great. If you're looking to mentor people, even lightly or loosely, like mentor students, that's a phenomenal platform to sign up for. I've signed up for it. It's similar to LinkedIn, but different. I think you can actually import your LinkedIn profile maybe into it. And Phoebe and Jen, you guys would know more about that. But I think from a personality standpoint, again, this about section, I mean, I've seen people like, you know, I live in Portsmouth. I've seen people with like the Portsmouth water skylines up here as like their cover photo. I mean, you can have like a little bit of fun with this cover photo. It's just kind of free space. But the personality piece, I would say this about section is really what it's all about. And then you've got, you know, you can have featured assets here. So again, you can throw up an example of your work. I will be honest with you. I love when people think outside the box about how to stand out and show more of their personality. And I will be the first to tell you that I love it when people add a video asset here. Or actually would sit down here in your featured now. The visual assets used to sit up here in the about section, but they've moved it down into its own little sort of piece here. But throw up almost like a video cover letter. Throw up like a 30-second video clip that you can take with your phone, for crying out loud. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be professionally done. And just let people hear you talk about yourself and hear you talk about this industry that you love and what you're hoping to do. And, you know, for those of you that are actively job hunting, right? Like this is a way for you to really stand out. Obviously, if you're confidentially searching, probably not the best tactic, but I still think it's something that can make people stand out. And it's just funny to me that people don't think about this. Like, and maybe it's just because I'm a recruiter and my jobs have been my job for 12 years, right? So I'm always looking through this lens, but I loved it when people would find ways of showcasing their communication skills and really being able to talk to me about something. And I can see the passion that they have about our company or the field that they're in or whatever. So again, if it's going to sit on your LinkedIn, probably doesn't have to be company specific, but definitely talk about the sector. But that's a great way to pull up more of your personality in here.
Yeah, we can, we'll put some information about Wildcat Connections in the post email that we send out to everybody to get more information. I believe you answered this question a little bit, but just to clarify, is it okay to ask your connections to add recommendations to your page?
Oh yeah, you have to. I mean, you can't add them for yourself. You have to request them from people. So, and when they complete that recommendation, it'll actually ping as a little message that pops up for you, and you have to approve it before it'll be put on your page. So you actually have control. You have the ability to kind of, if there's a typo or something, you could actually flip it back to them and be like, hey, so sorry, like if you could just spell this, blah, 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 and then flip it back. So you can kind of co-edit it if you needed to, but you can't post something for yourself. That's why they're so nice for recruiters, because they're vetted. You know, I know that the people that are, you know, in these recommendations, like Lynn had to go in here and leave this recommendation for me. So anybody looking at that knows that I couldn't have uploaded that myself.
The next question is, I'm a professor who was one of 10 laid off at one of the community colleges this January after 9 years of full-time work. I've applied to 14 colleges and universities and been rejected already by 4 schools. I have a pretty amazing resume. However, even if they don't ask my age, they will know my age since my transcript says I graduated in 1973. Do you think I'm the victim of ageism, and is there anything I can do about it?
I mean, just to not segue us off to a completely different topic. I mean, ageism is very much a real thing, but I'd also say I've had the examples of people being ageist against people who are considered quote unquote too young. So I think it's something that everybody kind of deals with in one way or another. There's no way for you to know based on getting a rejection email what that came from. And like I said, you're probably going to apply to a million positions that you're a great fit for with companies who have very multi-generational workforces and have zero ageism issues. And you still might not be the one to get that job. And that might be because you're not following up with people in the right way, or not right way, because that sounds terrible, but like, you know what I mean? There's certain things that people can do. And this is like what I work on with my clients, right? Is like really fine tuning people's processes to make sure we're kind of closing the gaps from a process perspective of where we're falling through the cracks. So again, I don't want to like jump too far off topic here today, but, and just because I know this is going to be a question too, for people who have more questions for me, I'm going to throw up my contact info slide again at the end here. But please know that there's really a limit to the kind of advice I can give you through a message. Some of these situations we have to talk about because the nuances really matter. But also if you build up your profile after this webinar, which I hope everybody kind of like jumps in and updates their stuff, and that you've learned a couple different things. And trust me, I haven't even shown you my favorite part yet. But if you have questions, we had 80 people register for this webinar. I'm not going to be able to, like stop and look at everybody's profiles. So please maybe don't email me specifically, but you can absolutely contact the career services group, because remember that the career and professional services at UNH is absolutely free and available to alumni forever. And so it's CAPS, C-A-P-S, CAPS at unh.edu. And I know Jennifer and Phoebe are going to throw that in the follow-up email as well too. And they are fully available. You have free career advising sessions that you can leverage them for. Again, I'm always happy to help folks, but again, my services cost money. So I really, and trust me, as a former director of career services for UNH, I was like, I would always scream at the alumni, like, why don't you come back and use us? We're a free resource. So I know it probably doesn't sound like good business sense, but please do go use these free resources before you reach out to me, because why not exasperate all free options first, right? All right, Jen, next question.
Last question is, when following up to apply jobs where you may not have a personal connection, what is the best way to stand out?
Excellent. That is a perfect segue into our next section. So one of the things that, again, we talked about, right? The three main things that you're doing on LinkedIn: you're connecting with people, you're following organizations, and you're joining groups. Now, let's say that you're leveraging, whether it's this job search piece, which we'll jump into in a second, or Indeed or something else, right? And we say, okay, I applied for this position and I want to follow up. What's the best way to do that, right? So one of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize is that they have this sort of deep dive backend filter that they can use. So this is where if you jump into your search bar and you don't type anything in, but you just come over to the magnifying glass and you click in, brings you this sort of like wonky backend sort of page. You come over to all filters. This is your backend. And this allows you to comb through your entire network. Not all 650 million people on LinkedIn, but just your first, second, and third level connections. So again, this is why connections equal access. So let's say that we had that specific company that we wanted to apply to, right? Let's say that I want to work at Bottomline. And so I put in Bottomline Technologies. This is the job I applied for. And now I want to follow up. I need to go find the right recruiter. Now, of course, you could click apply and kind of sift through all of your first, second, and third connections that currently, you also have a past company section over here. This is who's going to be currently working at Bottomline. But why don't we come down to title and put in recruiter, or talent for talent acquisition, or human for human resources, right? And this and or search strings, those are called Boolean searching. So it's just a way to kind of string together a couple things. But just remember, this keyword filter system is so sensitive. If you misspell something, it's going to jam it up on you. So again, this search right here is going to comb through all of my first, second, and third connections and show me who's currently working at Bottomline and has one of these words in one of their job titles. Now remember, this is not the job title. This is the header. So you're still probably going to want to jump into people's profiles unless you can see that they are the person that you're looking for. So what's really nice is that you can kind of come in here and you can see, okay, here's the hiring team. This is where I start, right? And if you have someone that's a second connection here, right? And this is someone that you want to actually connect with. And again, with LinkedIn, most people on here probably have a free account. LinkedIn is always trying to get people to upgrade and spend more money. I'll be the first one to tell you, you don't have to do that. To follow up, let's say that Tabby was like the person I need to follow up with on this job. I would click connect, I would add the note, and I've got 300 characters or less to make it short and sweet. And I would say something like, hey Tabby, I know this is kind of random, but I just applied for your financial analyst position. I'm a huge fan of what you guys do. Please let me know if you have any questions on my background. Thanks. I'm not asking to have lunch with her. I'm not asking for an hour of her time, because trust me, any recruiter, if you start asking for a lot of time, people are going to get stressed out and they might not respond. Again, our whole world focuses around efficiency. So the idea that you're following up with me through this way, and again, less than 5% of people ever follow up after applying for a job, and that's a gracious number. It's probably closer to 2%. So if I have 100 applicants, I'm maybe getting 1 or 2 messages from people. So in that instance, if I'm Tabby and someone sends me that message, it's going to come up in my little, my little network piece here, right? And in one click, I can be on your profile. So in one click, I don't even have to respond to you yet. In one click, I'm looking and seeing, are you a great candidate for what you just applied for what you're telling me you applied for? And in that moment, I'm spending more eyeball time on your profile than anybody else that's in that applicant tracking system that maybe has a better resume and has more experience and has, all 10 of the 10 check boxes from that job description, and maybe you had 6, right? I'm not looking at them. I'm looking at you. So again, it's so important to have your profile set up in a way that if I'm that recruiter and I'm making that one click and jumping in, all of a sudden I see plenty of reasons why we should totally talk about that job you just applied to. And so now in one click back to you, I'm responding and saying, hey, Jennifer, thanks so much for reaching out. Yeah, let's talk about the role. When are you free? Like, let's hop on a call. Or if you're not a great fit, I can provide you with immediate feedback. And this is something that I always loved. And I appreciate other recruiters that do this. And I know that not all recruiters do it, but I can't change that. But I used to respond to people and say, hey, Jen, thanks so much for reaching out and applying for that role. Unfortunately, the hiring manager is looking for some pretty specific technical skills. So this one might not be a match, but hey, we're connected now. Let's stay in touch for future reference, right? We're connected. So it was just this way of being able to kind of start a rapport with somebody, keep them in my circle, keep them on my radar. And the other thing is, as a recruiter, I also know that I can search my message box for my messages. I can search that by keyword. So if 3 months from then a position pops up and I'm like, who's that person that sent me that follow-up? And I remember I said this back. I could just search for a word, find our communication, and be able to reach out to you. And trust me, there are so many times where I've hired candidates 6, 8, 12 months later for a position that popped up that was just a better fit. Or maybe you're going for a position and there's an internal candidate and they wind up getting the role. Has nothing to do with you, right? Has nothing to do with the fact that you're a great fit for that position. It went to an internal. So why not take the opportunity to just create this fantastic rapport with this recruiter? Avoid transactional relationships with recruiters. You want to make them your best friend. I would advocate for candidates so heavily on the back end. I mean, these are people that you want to make your friends because it's their job to fill these positions. You're never going to bug them. And that's another thing that I think a lot of people kind of say is like, oh, well, the posting said no follow-up, or the, blah, 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 I don't want to keep bugging them. And it's like, it's literally my job to fill this. Help me help you. Like I might not want a bunch of staffing firms calling me about this position because I'm not looking to pay a fee to have this filled, right? But if you just send me a connection request online and you're not even asking me to do any extra like legwork, you're not asking me for a phone call, I'm going to accept your connection request and I'm definitely going to look at your background, right? Why would I Why would I avoid a potential great fit for this role that I need to fill, right? So another thing that I want to show you with this advanced search, and the thing that I want to call out too, and this is another reason why I tell people don't be doing this at the same time that I'm doing it, because with a free account, you can only run so many of these advanced searches per month. I don't know what the number is, but I know that if you hit the ceiling on that, a little pop-up will come up and say, hey, you've actually used up all your advanced searches for the month. Do you want to upgrade to premium, where you'll get unlimited advanced searches per month? And again, that's a very personal decision if people want to upgrade to premium. But I will say that there's usually a try it for free for 30 days offer that pops up with that. So you could absolutely come in here, run some really fantastic advanced searches, fortify that network as much as possible, connect with as many people as possible, and then just cancel it before the 30 days if you really didn't want to pay for it. And I don't even think it's anything crazy. And I know there's student discounts and stuff too, but just a call out. So one of the other types of searches that I want to show people is, let's say that you know what type of industry you want to work in. And we're in the greater Boston area here. So let's go ahead and throw in greater Boston. And let's say that I want to go back to my medical device. I don't know why that's on the top of my mind today, but let's go into that industry. And let's just run a search. Now, especially if I'm a new grad, or this is what I show my students how to do, or even if you're just kind of thinking like, you know what, I'm just kind of ready for something different. What else is out there? This is where you can run some searches and just see like, what are their job titles? What are they doing? Where are they working in this sector that I want to be in? Now, 30,000 results just popped up. No one's got time for that, right? So let's go back in and say, hey, maybe we just start really close to the vest. Let's see how many first connections we actually have in this space. Maybe I can like talk to a couple people that I already know. So this is just a really nice way for you to comb through. And let's say it's been 5 years since you worked with Donna or known Donna here, and you worked at the same company before, but she's made changes. Maybe she's even changed fields. But now all of a sudden you're looking at this industry and you have a friend that you can contact. So again, it's just a way for you to kind of go through. Again, you can do the same thing with seconds, right? We can also say, oh, let's find all the hiring folks, right? Again, we're going to put in recruiter or human or talent. Job titles are so subjective. Everybody calls this stuff something different. But now you can say, okay, well, out of all of my first, second, or third connections in the greater Boston area, and that's self-disclosed too. People have to like say that they're in the greater Boston area, who are in medical device and who are in the hiring space. This is them. And now we still have 100+ people. Let's go in and let's see if there's any wildcats. UNH sits right at the top of my schools filter there. Bang. So talk about a great way to like drill down, to find exactly the right people to talk to. And again, too, let's say that Allison here doesn't have any positions that she's filling right now, or maybe she's not inundated with all these different resumes because she's not in a current hiring practice. This is the perfect time to actually reach out, add a note, and be like, hey, Allison, I know this is kind of random. I saw you're a wildcat. You're literally like working in my dream field. And let's say that you looked through her profile and found that she made the jump from a different sector into medical device, right? And that's maybe what I'm trying to do. This is where I can say, I noticed you made a similar jump as me and came into the med device space. How are you liking it? I'd love to pick your brain for 5 minutes. Like if I can ever buy you a cup of coffee, if you ever come home for homecoming, like I'd love to buy you a beer, right? Whatever it may be. If we ever even have homecomings in person again. But again, remember that you want to be strategic. You want to make sure that you're respectful of people's time. And you want to make sure that your questions are really specific. The big thing, and I think it's important to talk about the things recruiters hate just as much as the things that I love seeing on LinkedIn. I couldn't handle when people would send me messages and be like, hey, Krystal, I'd love to work at Lint, and just hoping you can look at my background and tell me what kind of, what the right position would be for me. And it's like, I don't know. Like, I have no idea like what you want to do, right? Like, okay, maybe you were a specific maybe you were a marketing major. That doesn't tell me anything, right? Okay, maybe you're entry level. So if I respond back and say, okay, well, you'd be a good fit for marketing coordinator roles. And then what does that even give you, right? You got one little shred of piece of information that's not even really like a conversation. It's hard, right? So be really intentional about your questions. And remember this, one of the things that kills me is when people say, hey, really quick question. And then they give me this gigantic, layered, complex, nuanced question. If it's a simple question, you should be able to Google it. So I say that because whenever you are reaching out to someone and asking them to spend time to help you with something, be really cognizant of what you're asking, right? I always tell people, like, my time is completely broken out based on clients and scheduling and all this kind of stuff. Let's have a conversation about it. Like, schedule an intro call. It's free. It's 15 minutes, but like, you're going to get so much more of my time and my insight out of that than like some message on here. So if you can get someone to hop on a call with you, fantastic. But if someone doesn't respond right away, if someone doesn't accept your connection request, don't lose any sleep over it. It's fine. It's just part of the, maybe they don't check their LinkedIn every day. So anyway, the how and why of your approach might be really, really nuanced depending on your search, but I highly recommend using that advanced search piece because you'll get a lot more out of your network. The last piece is just the job section. And this is something that I just want to show something really quick, and then we can jump into a couple questions. One of the things that I think is worth calling out about LinkedIn is it's highly monetized. LinkedIn scrapes a lot of the jobs that you see from actual companies' websites, which is a good thing because you're getting a lot of, information. But the important thing is you don't know when they scraped that information. So this position right here, this could have actually been taken off the site 5 days ago or 3 days ago, right? Do not apply to these positions through LinkedIn. Go to the actual company's website and make sure that the position's still open. It's one of the biggest pet peeves that I think I've heard from my clients is like, they'll actually go and apply through LinkedIn, get to the very last page, and it's like, sorry, this job is no longer available. The other thing is, whenever you see promoted here, this is telling you that this company has dropped some serious money on promoting this role because this is not cheap. I can't disclose how big the budget was, but we spent a lot of money on Indeed and LinkedIn promotional sponsorships for roles. So I can tell you that like, this is a company that's going to be highly motivated to fill this position because they're putting some serious dollars behind it. So maybe it's worth, looking at. But again, it's promoted. Like, this is the system saying, hey, this is a job that we want you to check out because this company spent some money on it. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the best match for you. So kind of dig through. Notice over here that you've got an all filters section as well. You can absolutely jump in here. You can come down and search for remote opportunities. This is one of my favorite features of this site. You also have experience level. Let's say that you're a new grad, right? Click on some entry level stuff. Don't bother yourself with these guys. This is gonna be frustrating. These are the job descriptions that say 10 plus years experience, right? So it's nice to be able to filter down and drill down. It's gonna spare you some of the frustration, but also probably show you positions that are truly better fits for you. So anyway, I do like the job board with LinkedIn. I just highly recommend going to the actual company's website, applying. Obviously, it's nice, when you see these jobs and it's telling you immediately that you have a couple contacts there. That's always great. But go to the company's website, apply directly to make sure that you're in their applicant tracking system, and then make sure that you're following up with a recruiter or a hiring manager after you apply, right? Remember that 5% number. Again, it's probably more like 2%. So if you're applying for a job, you're making a decision. Am I going to be in the 2% that follow up or the 98% that don't? Right? If you do not follow up, you forfeit the right to be pissed off if they don't call you. And that's what I tell people. So you have to be vigilant about this. It's about standing out. Okay, Jen, any questions?
There's one question.
Okay.
How do you figure out if someone is reputable when they're sending you a message through the messaging option about a job?
About a job. Oh, like if someone reaches out to you and they say like, hey, we've got a position open at our company.
Yeah, through the messaging option, it sounds like.
I mean, Reputable, I mean, that's tough, right? Because I think you've got their profile. I mean, hopefully you just click into their profile and you can see their entire work history. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And you have to remember too that like if someone jumps in and they only have 3 connections, I might be a little bit skeptical of that person, because you could have created your profile today. You know what I mean? And you're sending me this message, and I don't know. I just feel a little bit different. If you have over 500 connections, and I can see your work history and like all of these other things, and people have left you recommendations, you know, I'm definitely going to feel better about, you know, what you're trying to sell me, so to speak. But honestly, there's no harm in having a conversation with somebody. And, you know, there are plenty of companies out there that you've never heard of, sectors you've never considered. And trust me, I used to reach out to people all the time and be like, you know, hey, Holly, I know this is kind of random, but, you know, I love your background. You know, would you consider making a transition this year? I'd love to talk to you about a role I have open. You know, and some people would respond back and be like, no, I'm good. You know, and other people would be like, yep, let's talk. You know, so I think that it's worth pursuing. I always tell my students and my clients, always take the conversation, right? You don't have to accept anything. You don't have to interview any further, but always take the conversation, practice your interview skills, and see what people have to say. I mean, sometimes it's really nice too, to just be able to consider different things sometimes. And, you know, maybe you've sort of been feeling that itch to make a move, but, you know, you weren't sure, you know, how competitive you'd be in the market. And all of a sudden a couple people reach out and you're like, hey, maybe I've actually got a good shot at this. So I think it's just, you know, it's good to always take the conversation.
All right, that looks like it's our last question, unless I see anything else come in. We will wrap up, but thank you so much. This was really helpful.
Awesome.
And like we said, we will definitely send out the link to the webinar library so that you can see this and other topics that are on our UNH Connect site for alumni. And we will also send out some of the information that we talked about here, like Wildcat Connections and ways to get in touch with you or CAPS, etc. So thank you so much. This was great. And have a great day, everybody.
Yeah, thanks. I'll hang out. If anyone has any additional questions or whatever, I'm happy to help. And feel free to connect with me. I'm an equal opportunity connector. If you do have truly a quick question, like please, by all means, do message me. I definitely am open to chatting with people. I just always like to set up realistic expectations, right? That sometimes people give me these like huge questions and I'm like, oh my God, we're not gonna be able to do this justice in a message on LinkedIn. Like, let's get on a phone call.
Great. I don't see any more questions coming in here. So if anybody wants to reach out, oh, wait a minute. I spoke too soon. Hold on. Oh, just thanks so much. I've got a pretty robust profile, but found a bunch of great tips. So
good.
Out to you. Yes. Awesome.
Oh, perfect.
All right. Thank you so much. And definitely Krystal has said to reach out to her. So do so. And again, we will send out some other options for you as well in the follow-up email. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.